Hi there. You're listening to English Podcast for Beginners, your friendly guide to learning English step by step. Let's learn, practice, and grow together.
Hey everyone, welcome back to English Podcast for Beginners. I'm Alexa.
And I'm Nick. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most common questions English learners have: how to improve your speaking skills.
Yes, so many people can read and write quite well, but when it comes to speaking, they freeze or hesitate. It's totally normal, but today we'll explore what really helps you become more confident when you speak English.
Exactly. And first, I think it's important to say that speaking well doesn't mean speaking fast or using complicated vocabulary. It's more about communication, being able to express your thoughts clearly and naturally.
Right, a lot of learners think they need to sound perfect, but that pressure only makes speaking harder. You should focus on progress, not perfection.
Totally agree. One thing that helps is practice with real people. Even short conversations make a big difference. For example, you can find a language partner online, or just talk to a friend who's also learning English.
Yes, or even record yourself speaking. Many learners don't realize how powerful that can be. When you listen to your own voice, you notice pronunciation issues and also see how much you've improved over time.
That's a great point. I used to do that when learning another language, and it really helped me catch mistakes I never noticed before.
And another tip, shadowing. It means listening to native speakers and repeating what they say, exactly how they say it. It's one of the best ways to train your mouth and your brain to work together in English.
Yes, and you can shadow podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, or even short clips. Just try to copy the tone, rhythm, and pronunciation. It helps you sound more natural.
Also, don't forget about thinking in English. When you constantly translate from your native language, it slows you down. Try describing what you see around you or what you're doing in English, even when you're alone.
Also, don't forget about thinking in English. When you constantly translate from your native language, it slows you down. Try describing what you see around you or what you're doing in English, even when you're alone.
Exactly, and I think consistency is key. Even if you only practice speaking for 10 minutes a day, that's much better than doing nothing for a week and then studying for hours on one day.
Yes, regular practice keeps your mouth and your memory active. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it becomes weak.
Totally, and for listeners who feel shy about speaking, remember that mistakes are part of learning. Every mistake teaches you something new.
I like that. Actually, when you make mistakes and someone corrects you, you remember that correction much better than if you just read it in a grammar book.
True, and the more you speak, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you'll stop worrying about grammar while talking and focus more on expressing ideas.
And that's what fluency really means: not being perfect, but being comfortable. So, one really effective daily exercise is describing your day out loud in English. It doesn't have to be complicated, just simple sentences like, I woke up at 7, or I went to work by bus. The goal is to get used to forming sentences quickly without translating.
That's a great one, and you can even add more details to challenge yourself. For example, I woke up at 7 because I wanted to exercise before breakfast, or I took the bus because it was raining. Adding small details helps you build longer sentences naturally.
Yes, and if you do this every day, you start thinking in English automatically. It also helps your pronunciation because you're using your voice actively.
Another simple exercise is reading aloud. Choose a short paragraph from a book or an article and read it out loud slowly and clearly. It improves pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence at the same time.
And to make it even more effective, you can record yourself reading and then listen again. Compare your voice with the original audio if there is one. It's a great way to notice how your pronunciation improves week by week.
Exactly. And if you're someone who feels shy or nervous when speaking English, remember that speaking alone is also real practice. Talking to yourself in English helps you build confidence before you speak to others.
Yes, many learners forget that. You don't always need a partner to practice. You can look around and describe what you see, or explain your thoughts out loud. The important thing is to keep your mouth moving in English every day.
Another helpful thing is to watch English videos and repeat short phrases. Don't try to memorize everything. Just repeat the parts you like or the expressions you want to use. Over time, those phrases will become natural in your speaking.
That's actually how native speakers sound fluent. They use a lot of ready-made phrases. Learning these chunks of language helps you speak more smoothly and naturally.
For example, instead of thinking about grammar rules, you can learn expressions like "you know what I mean," or "that makes sense," or "I totally agree." These are phrases you can use in any conversation.
Right, and using them makes your speech sound more natural and confident. You don't have to create every sentence from zero. You just mix the expressions you already know.
And when you listen to native speakers, try to notice how they connect their words. They don't say each word separately. For example, "what are you doing?" often sounds like "what you doing." Listening carefully to these small changes helps you sound more fluent too.
Yes, that's one of the reasons shadowing is so useful. You can repeat what you hear exactly as it sounds, and that helps you train your ears and your pronunciation at the same time.
And speaking of pronunciation, one good tip is to focus on rhythm more than on individual sounds. English has a certain beat. It's not only about the sounds of the words, but also about how they flow together.
That's true. If you focus too much on pronouncing every word perfectly, it can actually make your speech sound less natural. Try to follow the rhythm and stress patterns you hear from native speakers.
You can even listen to songs or short clips to feel that rhythm. Once you get used to it, your speech will start to sound smoother without forcing it.
And for people who want faster results, I'd say, speak every single day, even for just 5 minutes. You can talk about your plans, your goals, or what happened that day. It's not about how long you practice, it's about doing it regularly.
Yes, that's the key. Consistency builds fluency. It's like exercising. If you do a little bit every day, you'll get stronger over time.
And don't be afraid to sound different. Everyone has an accent, and that's completely fine. What really matters is being understood and expressing yourself clearly.
Exactly, your accent is part of your identity. You don't need to sound like a native speaker to be a good communicator. What matters most is clarity and confidence.
And confidence grows from practice, not from perfection. The more you speak, the more comfortable you become, and soon you'll realize that speaking English can actually be fun.
Yes, it's about enjoying the process. When you enjoy speaking, learning becomes much easier and faster.
So if you are listening right now, remember that you already have everything you need to improve. You just need to start using your English today.
Exactly, even simple actions like talking to yourself, reading aloud, or shadowing for a few minutes can make a huge difference if you do them regularly.
And once you build that daily habit, speaking English won't feel like studying anymore. It'll just be a natural part of your day.
That's when real fluency begins, when English becomes something you live, not just something you learn.
Absolutely.
Another thing that can really help is surrounding yourself with English as much as possible. You can change your phone language to English, listen to English podcasts during your commute, or even watch short videos with subtitles. The more you hear the language, the more your brain adapts to it.
Yes, exposure makes a big difference. When you hear English every day, you start to recognize patterns, expressions, and pronunciation without even realizing it. It's like your brain starts learning automatically in the background.
Exactly, and you don't always have to focus so hard when listening. Even passive listening helps, for example, having an English podcast playing while you cook or clean. It keeps your ears familiar with the sounds of the language.
That's so true. And if you want to take it a step further, try speaking along with what you hear. You can repeat short sentences from movies or podcasts. That combination of listening and speaking is a powerful way to build fluency.
Yes, and that's what makes shadowing so effective. It trains your ears, your mouth, and your memory at the same time. You can start with slow speech and then move to faster, more natural English when you feel ready.
Another tip I often give my students is to focus on topics you actually enjoy. If you only study English from boring materials, it's harder to stay motivated. But when you talk about things you care about, your energy and confidence grow naturally.
That's a good point. If you love music, talk about your favorite songs. If you enjoy cooking, describe recipes or ingredients in English. Connecting the language with your interests makes speaking much more fun and natural.
And when you talk about familiar topics, you already know the ideas in your mind, you just need to find the English words to express them. That makes speaking easier and helps you learn vocabulary that's actually useful for your life.
Exactly, and speaking of vocabulary, it's better to learn words in context rather than one by one. For example, instead of memorizing decide, plan, and goal separately, you can learn them together in a phrase like, I decided to plan my goals for next year. That way, you remember how words work together.
Yes, and it also helps you sound more fluent because you start using natural combinations of words instead of translating word by word.
And when you learn new words, try to use them as soon as possible. Make your own sentences or include them in your daily practice. If you don't use the words, you'll probably forget them.
That's right. Using new vocabulary immediately helps it stick in your memory. Even if your sentence isn't perfect, it's better to try and make mistakes than to stay silent.
And you can even write down short notes of the phrases you like and repeat them during the day. For example, if you learn I'm looking forward to it, try to use it when you're talking about something you're excited about.
That's such a good idea. I also tell learners to keep a small notebook or a note app on their phone just for useful phrases. Review them often, not just to read, but to say them out loud.
Yes, reading out loud is key. It helps you build muscle memory. Your mouth starts remembering how English words feel and sound.
And it's a nice way to practice pronunciation without feeling pressure. You're just reading, but at the same time, you're improving your speaking rhythm and clarity.
Exactly. And if you want to make your English sound even more natural, focus on intonation, how your voice goes up and down in a sentence. For example, when you ask a question, your voice usually rises a bit at the end.
Yes, intonation gives meaning and emotion to your words. Without it, your speech might sound flat or robotic, even if your grammar is correct.
So practicing with real examples, like short clips from movies or interviews, helps you hear how emotion changes the tone of a sentence. Then you can copy that same style.
And over time, you start feeling the rhythm of English naturally. You'll begin to speak with more confidence and expression instead of just reading from a script in your head.
That's when speaking starts to feel alive, when you stop worrying about every mistake and focus more on connection.
Exactly, because the purpose of speaking is connection, not perfection. When you connect with others, even simple English becomes powerful.
And the more you connect, the more comfortable you become. It's a positive cycle. The more you speak, the easier it gets.
That's why daily exposure, consistent practice, and confidence all work together. They turn English from something you study into something you live.
Yes, and when English becomes part of your lifestyle, you stop feeling like a learner and start feeling like a communicator.
That's exactly what every learner should aim for, to reach the point where English is not just a subject, but a skill you use naturally in your everyday life.
And that's completely possible for anyone, as long as they practice regularly and enjoy the process.
It doesn't matter where you start. What matters is that you keep going and keep speaking every day, even in small ways.
And every word you speak in English takes you one step closer to fluency.
Yes, progress might be slow, but it's real. Every sentence, every effort, and every mistake is a part of your journey forward.
That's the mindset every learner should have, not rushing, but enjoying the journey, trusting that every bit of practice adds up over time.
Exactly.
Another point I think learners should remember is that confidence doesn't come before speaking, it comes from speaking. Many people wait until they feel ready, but the truth is, you build confidence by doing it, even when you're not ready.
That's such an important idea. If you wait until you feel completely confident, you'll never start. But if you start small, just a few sentences every day, your confidence will grow naturally.
Yes, and it's okay to feel nervous. Everyone feels nervous when they start speaking a new language. But every time you speak, it gets easier. You begin to realize that people understand you more than you think.
Exactly. And most native speakers don't care if you make mistakes. They actually appreciate your effort to speak their language. That's something many learners forget.
That's true. People are usually kind and patient when they hear someone learning English. So it's better to try and make a few mistakes than to stay silent and miss a chance to connect.
And when you make a mistake, you can think of it as a lesson. Instead of feeling bad, ask yourself, what did I learn from this? That mindset helps you grow much faster.
Yes, mistakes are not proof that you're failing, they're proof that you're improving. They show that you're actually using your English, not just studying it.
I like that. Using English in real situations, even small ones, is what builds fluency. For example, you can speak to a shop assistant in English, comment on a YouTube video in English, or join an online discussion group.
Those small steps make a big difference. They give you real-life experience, and that's where your English becomes alive.
And the more you speak, the more your brain starts to think in patterns. You'll notice you don't have to plan every sentence, it just flows.
Exactly, that's when you realize your brain is adapting to the language. And it only happens when you use English consistently, not just when you study grammar rules.
Speaking of grammar, I think it's important to mention that grammar is useful, but it shouldn't stop you from speaking. Many learners think they must be perfect before they talk, and that's not true.
Yes, grammar gives structure, but fluency comes from using the language naturally. You can learn grammar while speaking, by noticing patterns and corrections along the way.
That's right. Real communication helps you remember grammar better than just memorizing rules. You start to feel what sounds correct, even if you can't explain the rule.
And that's how native speakers speak too, by feel. They don't think about every rule before speaking, they just know what sounds right.
Exactly. And learners can reach that level too, through constant exposure and real communication.
So if you're studying English right now, the best thing you can do is to use what you know. Don't wait until you know everything. Use the English you already have.
Yes, use it every day. The more you use it, the more you remember it, and the faster you improve.
And when you practice speaking, it also improves your listening. You start understanding native speakers more easily because your brain becomes familiar with the rhythm and structure of the language.
That's a good point. Speaking and listening are connected, improving one helps the other. When you train your ears, your mouth naturally follows the same rhythm and pronunciation.
Exactly, and that's why it's great to combine both. For example, listen to a podcast, pause after each line, and repeat what you hear. That simple exercise can transform your speaking skills.
And it's something you can do anytime, anywhere, even for 5 minutes a day. You don't need special tools or teacher, just your voice and a bit of motivation.
Yes, and the beautiful thing about language learning is that you can do it at your own pace. There's no need to compare yourself with others. Everyone's journey is different.
Exactly. Some people improve faster in listening, others in speaking. What matters is staying consistent and celebrating your own progress.
And celebrating small wins is important. When you notice you can say a sentence more smoothly or understand something without translating, take a moment to be proud of yourself.
That's a great mindset. Progress is not always visible day by day, but it's happening. Every bit of practice adds up.
Yes, fluency isn't built in a day. It's built through hundreds of small moments. The short conversations, the recordings, the practice alone in your room, all of it counts.
And the more you practice, the more natural it feels. Soon, you will start to speak English without even thinking about it.
That's the ultimate goal, to reach the point where English becomes part of who you are, not something you're trying to perform.
And that's something every learner can achieve with time, patience, and consistent speaking practice.
Yes, every learner can reach that level. It's not about talent, it's about time and dedication.
Exactly.
And something else that really helps is paying attention to how your mouth moves when you speak English. The sounds are different from other languages, so sometimes you need to adjust the position of your tongue or lips to pronounce words correctly.
That's a good point. English has certain sounds that don't exist in other languages, like the th sound in think or this. Practicing those sounds slowly and carefully helps you become clearer when you speak.
Yes, and it's totally fine to exaggerate a bit when you practice. For example, when you say thank you, try to make the th sound very clearly. It trains your mouth to get used to new movements.
Right. And once your muscles remember those movements, it becomes natural. You won't even think about it anymore, it'll just happen automatically.
Another helpful tip is to use mirrors while speaking. Watching your mouth helps you notice how you form sounds. It's like giving yourself instant feedback.
That's actually a great technique. Many language learners overlook it, but seeing yourself speak can help you adjust pronunciation and become more confident.
Yes, and confidence is also connected to body language. When you stand or sit up straight and speak with energy, your voice sounds stronger and clearer.
Absolutely. Your physical posture affects your voice and your mindset. If you smile while speaking, your tone sounds more positive and natural too.
That's true. And even though it sounds simple, smiling while speaking English can change how others perceive you and also how you feel about yourself.
Exactly. It helps you sound friendly and confident, and that creates a better connection with the listener.
And that connection is what communication is all about. The more you connect emotionally, the more natural your English becomes.
Yes, language isn't just about words, it's about feeling. When you put emotion into your speech, your pronunciation and intonation automatically improve.
That's a really good point. You can even practice by reading dialogues from movies or books with emotion. Don't just read, act the lines. It helps your voice sound more expressive.
That's a fun exercise too. It turns practice into something creative. You can pick a short movie scene and try to copy the character's tone, emotion, and rhythm.
Yes, and it helps you understand how real conversations sound, not just textbook English.
Exactly. Real English is full of emotion, rhythm, and small sounds that make it feel alive. Practicing that kind of speech prepares you for real-life communication.
And when you start using English in real life, like chatting online, ordering food, or asking for directions, you'll notice your confidence grow quickly.
Yes, because you see that people actually understand you, and that's a big motivation to keep improving.
And every time you have a real conversation, no matter how short, you're training your brain to think faster in English.
That's right. It's like a workout for your mind. The more you speak, the faster you process words and build responses naturally.
And over time, you'll notice that your pauses become shorter and your sentences flow more smoothly.
Exactly. Fluency isn't about never pausing, it's about keeping the flow going naturally. Even native speakers pause, but they do it in a relaxed way.
Yes, so it's okay to pause while thinking. Just don't stop completely or get nervous. You can use filler words like well, you know, or I think to keep the rhythm of your speech.
That's a great strategy. It buys you time to think and makes your speech sound more natural.
And another small but powerful technique is imitation. Try to imitate not only what native speakers say, but how they say it, the melody, the rhythm, the emotion.
Yes, it's one of the fastest ways to sound natural. You don't have to copy their accent exactly, just their flow and intonation.
Exactly, you can keep your own accent while still sounding fluent and confident. That's what makes your English unique.
Right. Your goal isn't to erase your accent, but to make your pronunciation clear enough for people to understand easily.
And once people can understand you without effort, that's already success. That's what good communication is all about.
Yes, Communication first, perfection later. You can always polish your accent and vocabulary as you grow, but the first goal is to express yourself freely.
And I think when learners reach that stage, when they can express themselves freely, English starts to feel exciting instead of stressful.
That's true. It becomes a tool for connection, creativity, and opportunity. You start to enjoy speaking, not just practice it.
And that's when you realize learning a language isn't just about learning words, it's about learning how to share who you are in a new way.
Exactly.
And once you start expressing yourself freely, it opens so many doors. You can connect with people from other countries, share ideas online, or even understand cultures that you only saw through movies before.
Yes, that's one of the most rewarding parts of learning English. It gives you access to the whole world. You can read books, watch interviews, or join communities that you couldn't before.
Exactly, English becomes more than just a language. It becomes a bridge between you and knowledge, between you and people, between you and new opportunities.
And that's why improving your speaking skills is so powerful. It's not only about pronunciation or grammar, it's about having the confidence to use that bridge and step into new experiences.
Yes, and sometimes you don't even notice how far you've come until one day you realize you can hold a full conversation without worrying. That moment feels amazing.
It really does. You suddenly understand that all those small daily practices, the short talks, the shadowing, the self-recordings, they all build that ability.
And it's proof that consistency always wins. Even if your progress feels slow, it's happening quietly in the background every time you speak, listen, and think in English.
That's true. It's like planting seeds. You might not see them grow right away, but with time and care, they become something strong and beautiful.
Yes, and I think it's important to be kind to yourself along the way. Some days you'll speak more confidently. Other days you'll feel stuck, but that's completely normal.
Exactly. Learning a language isn't a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, but every challenge you face teaches you something new.
And those moments when you feel stuck often mean your brain is getting ready for a new level. You're processing, organizing, and preparing to improve.
That's a really good perspective. So instead of feeling discouraged, you can remind yourself that even the quiet periods are part of progress.
Yes, because progress doesn't only happen when you're speaking, it also happens when you're listening, reading, and thinking. Everything you do in English adds value.
That's why it's good to keep a balanced routine. Mix speaking with listening, reading, and even writing. Each one helps the other.
Exactly. Writing helps you organize your thoughts, reading helps you learn new words, listening trains your ear, and speaking puts everything together.
And when you practice all those skills regularly, they support each other. It's like building a strong foundation for your English.
Yes, and that foundation gives you confidence. You start trusting yourself more because you know you've built your skills step by step.
Confidence doesn't appear suddenly, it grows from preparation and consistent practice. When you know you've been doing the work, you naturally feel more comfortable speaking.
Exactly, and comfort leads to fluency because you're no longer afraid to make mistakes. You just speak, listen, and keep going.
And when you keep going, speaking becomes less about effort and more about flow. It turns into something you enjoy, not something you worry about.
Yes, and that's such a great place to be. When English becomes part of your daily rhythm, like brushing your teeth or checking your phone, it just fits naturally into your life.
That's the best kind of learning, when it stops feeling like a subject and starts feeling like a skill you live with every day.
Exactly. You don't study to finish, you study to connect, to express, to grow. That's what learning English is really about.
And every time you speak, even if it's a short sentence, you're getting closer to that goal. You're not just learning words, you're learning to share your thoughts, emotions, and ideas in another language.
And that's a powerful skill because it changes how you see yourself. You start to realize you can belong anywhere, talk to anyone, and express yourself in new ways.
Yes, that feeling of belonging is what motivates so many learners. Once you can communicate freely, You stop feeling like an outsider and start feeling part of a bigger world.
Exactly. And that's why speaking practice is so important. It's what helps you build that connection, that confidence, and that sense of belonging.
And the more you speak, the more comfortable you become with that feeling. Soon, English won't feel like a second language, it'll just feel like another version of your voice.
That's beautifully said. It's like English becomes a new color in your personality. It doesn't replace your original one. It just adds more shades, more depth.
Yes, and that's what makes learning a language so special. It doesn't take anything away from you, it adds to who you are.
Exactly.
You know, one thing that really helps me when improving speaking is recording myself. It's a bit strange at first, but it lets me hear my mistakes.
Oh yes, that's a great one. Many learners don't realize how powerful it is to listen to their own voice. When you record yourself, you can notice pronunciation problems or repeated grammar mistakes that you didn't hear before.
Exactly. And the best part is that you can compare your recordings over time. Like, listen to yourself after a few weeks or months, you actually hear your progress.
Right, that's so motivating. You can literally hear how much better you sound, and that pushes you to keep going.
Also, something I always tell learners is to shadow native speakers. Just repeat what they say, word by word, as you listen. It trains your mouth, your brain, and your ears all together.
Yes, shadowing is amazing. It builds rhythm and intonation naturally. You start to sound more fluent because your brain gets used to the music of English.
And if you combine shadowing with speaking to yourself, like narrating your day or pretending to talk to someone, your confidence grows so much faster.
I love that. Talking to yourself in English is such a simple but effective habit. You can describe what you're doing like, I'm making breakfast, or I'm walking to work. It makes English a part of your daily life.
Exactly, because fluency doesn't come from just studying. It comes from using English all the time, even in small ways.
Yes, that's the secret. Make English part of your lifestyle, not just something you study for an hour and forget. When you think in English, speak in English, and even dream in English, it becomes natural.
And you don't need to be perfect when you speak. Mistakes are normal, they're proof that you're trying.
Definitely. I think fear of making mistakes is what stops most people from improving their speaking skills.
True, people worry too much about being correct instead of being understood. But communication is more important than perfection.
Exactly. It's better to speak with small mistakes than to stay silent waiting to be perfect. Confidence grows when you take action, not when you wait.
And once you start speaking more, you'll notice your grammar and vocabulary improving naturally too, just because you're practicing in real situations.
That's the beauty of it. Speaking helps everything else get better. It connects all the skills together.
So, to sum it up, if you really want to improve your English speaking skills, focus on practice, not perfection. Talk to yourself, record your voice, shadow native speakers, and most importantly, use English every single day.
Yes, make English part of your daily life and don't let fear hold you back. Remember, every time you speak, you're building confidence and fluency. It's not about being perfect, it's about being brave enough to try.
Exactly. Keep going, keep speaking, and you'll see results sooner than you think.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of English Podcast for Beginners. We hope you enjoyed this talk and found it useful for your English journey.
Stay motivated, keep practicing, and we'll talk to you again soon.
See you next time, everyone.
Pronunciation. Meaning, the way in which a word is spoken or pronounced. Good pronunciation helps people understand you more easily. She practiced her pronunciation every day to sound more natural in English. Intonation. Meaning, the rise and fall of the voice when speaking, the melody or tone pattern of speech. English intonation can completely change the meaning of a sentence. He practiced intonation by listening to native speakers carefully. Fluency. Meaning, the ability to speak or write a language easily and smoothly. She reached fluency after living abroad for 2 years. Reading aloud every day helps you build fluency in English. Motivating. Meaning, giving someone a reason or inspiration to act or continue doing something. Seeing my progress was really motivating. A good teacher always finds ways to make lessons motivating. Shadowing. Meaning, a language learning technique where you repeat what a speaker says immediately after hearing it. He improved his accent quickly through daily shadowing practice. Shadowing podcasts helps train both listening and speaking skills. Narrating. Meaning, describing or telling a story or series of events. She practiced English by narrating everything she did during the day. The movie was beautifully narrated by a famous actor. Intentionally. Meaning, on purpose, done deliberately. He intentionally slowed down his speech to sound clearer. Don't worry, she didn't say that to hurt you intentionally. Perfection. Meaning, the state of being perfect, without mistakes or flaws. Don't wait for perfection before you start speaking English. Many learners get stuck because they aim for perfection instead of progress. Naturally. Meaning, in a normal or expected way, without effort. After months of practice, she could speak naturally without thinking. Children pick up new languages naturally through play. Confidence. Meaning, the feeling or belief that you can do something well or succeed at something. Speaking more often helps you build confidence in English. His confidence grew after he joined an English conversation club.